Hi there, welcome back. It's been a long time since I've made a video that's only been about Crohn's. Because of my cardiac issues, a lot of my videos lately have been about what was going on with the cardiac issues, and Crohn's had kind of got thrown to the side. So we're going to talk about Crohn's today. My Crohn's is doing very well. Right now I'm symptom-free for the most part, pain-free for the most part. And by the most part, I mean like 9 out of 10 days type of a thing. I'm not having cramping, I'm not having diarrhea. So I'm feeling really good and I'm feeling very positive. My GI's happy where I'm at. One of the things I wanted to talk about is something that got me there. Now, we all know Crohn's patients and IBD and sufferers and people with IBS that everybody has a solution and knows a friend or a family member or somebody who did this thing that you must do. And we all know that that doesn't work, right? Well, it doesn't work for everybody. It's not the same. So I've always said that take advice that I give you and try it if you like, or if it sounds like something you want to do, and experiment with it. And of course, always do so with kind of your doctor on board as well. But not everything works for everybody. And I think that's a hard part of our disease, because you hear so often, and I'm seeing it, that we all joke about it, is I hate it when somebody says, oh, you have Crohn's disease? You must blah, 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 because it fixed my so-and-so that I know. It's well-intentioned, we know that, but it's also, not everything's a perfect cure because it helps somebody else. And I've said this before, it's fine for me, but please keep giving me that type of advice, because without it, I wouldn't have discovered some of the remedies that do work for me. So that's the whole point of this little cautionary tale, is you have to figure out what works for you. And please keep your doctor on board with this, because they may have a different plan of attack, and you adding or changing something might ruin that plan. So hopefully they discuss the plan with you, which I found out that they don't always do. So today we're going to talk about what somebody had mentioned to me to try was using probiotics. Now, a lot of times when we're in the hospital or we're having flare-ups, we kill the good bacteria that live within our systems. There are hundreds, if not into the thousands, of different types of bacteria in our systems, and those total into the trillions. So when we have a flare or our immune system goes haywire and starts to attack our gut, the inflammation occurs. Well, inflammation's bad for the good bacteria in your gut, the bacteria that helps move the food along, helps you absorb and digest things, helps repair the linings of your intestinal walls. That's all very important. We're born with a certain amount of those bacteria. We add more to them by our environment where we live. Some are good, some are bad. And the goal is to stay in a happy balance between the two. And a healthy, happy gut can be considered, and a lot of doctors do consider it, as a different organ in and of itself. Because if all the parts don't work together and it starts to fail, it affects so many other parts of the body. So it's not technically an organ, sort of kind of functions like one, and should be kind of treated as one, because if your gut's bad, that leads to many, many other bad outcomes. Potentially Crohn's, IBS, IBD, but eczema may have been attached to it somehow. I have eye issues when I have a flare-up. Dental issues are suspected to be part of having a poor gut bacteria. So there's a lot that your gut affects, and that's the whole point of that little spell there. So when somebody had mentioned to me, and this first person that mentioned this to me was my GI, he said, look into this. And so I was on board with him. And then I think it was Heather or Beth, one of you two, who's been really good about giving great advice that has so far, for the most part, worked for me. One of them had suggested, have I looked into probiotics? So since the doctor mentioned it and somebody else mentioned it, and I was brand new, I did look into them. At first, I didn't know what to think. I was a little hesitant. And so I had kind of held off a little bit, and then I started slow. And so I started using Restore. Restore is one that another Crohn's patient had said was working for them. And this now goes back to that there are different types of commercially produced probiotics. So you have to go with what works for you. I think this bottle costs like 28 to 30 bucks. It's not a small bottle. There is a smaller one you can start with. I would suggest that. I do know that this one works. And as a happy side effect, my family has started using it as well. And they've started reporting a more, a better response to their guts, which means less watery type stools for them, less loose stools, better solid, good floaty poops like you're supposed to have type of a thing. So, you know, we have our kids take it a couple days a week. My wife and I take it daily. And then my wife supplements it with a prebiotic, which is an entirely different thing. Prebiotics are designed to kind of feed the probiotics. I have to be careful with this one. This one has fiber in it. Fiber is not always good for Crohn's patients, except some fiber sometimes can be. And this has worked for me. I started with this going only just once a week because I was nervous about it, and I did half a dose. But immediately I went from, you know, kind of a soft serve coming out of the back end to a real, you know, the goal type poop, you know, firm, formed, round, good, decent color, the whole 9 yards. So anyhow, that helped. Now, I didn't want to jump into this, you know, with both feet. I did take it slow because I did notice that there was an increase in gas and abdominal discomfort because of that gas. But that just meant that the probiotics that were down inside my intestines were starting to work when I fed them. So I started this one slow and it worked well. So my whole point being is find the things that work for you, start slow, keep your doctors on board, and this is something that worked for me. I say this over and over. It may not work for you, but it is worth a shot. But please always run it by your doctor first. So anyhow, I just wanted to go back to making some Crohn's videos, and thank you so much for listening. This one went a little bit on the long side. I try to keep them under 3 minutes. This one's up to almost 7, so I'm going to cut it short and go because it takes me forever to say goodbye. So have a good, happy holiday season. I'll talk with you all soon. Take care. Bye.